Ann.
I certainly called in at the right moment.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
You have no
This is
idea.
the Cavuto show, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this is just like going on MSNBC.
How embarrassing. I must apologize, Ann Coulter.
Are you aware you're going out on radio?
Sometimes we completely forget, and we get caught up in what goes on with these interns and guys.
Well, we got this intern, David, and he pops boners very easily when he sees pictures of women.
Yeah.
You know, there's some aspects of the male mind I think should remain a mystery.
Yeah, you're probably right.
He's all embarrassed
God.
now. Because we caught him pretty much getting close to doing the work jerk.
Yeah, I picked up the general
Okay, you got
the
it. All right.
conversation.
Yeah.
So, of course, we have to exploit that a little bit, you know.
And, by the way, Jimmy Norton, I like that they call you Jimmy.
They do.
When my brother Jimmy was going on and on and on, he listens to this show every morning, about how hilarious and quick you are. He did say he caught you once on HBO, and your actual stand-up act was, I believe the word he used was filthy.
Yeah, it's rather raw.
Rather raw.
I'm a much nicer boy in person. On that stage, I'm a rotten little man, but in person, I'm a sweetie.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, I've sometimes it's really dirty. The special was shot. That was a lot of stuff that was in my personal life. And then the next hour I had, a lot of it was about politics and about the election. Depends on where I'm at in my life. Sometimes it's very dirty. Other times it's just a lot of political stuff and whatever.
And these days, with the new administration, it's both at the same time.
Yeah, I did the Obama stuff. All the election stuff had to go, but the Obama stuff I can still talk about. Obviously, you're informed, and I know we talked. I plugged this morning that you're debating Bill Maher. Are you guys both speaking, or is it an actual head-to-head debate?
Well, we'll both speak at the beginning, I assume. Neither of us quite know how it works. But we'll both give, I guess, 15, 20 minutes. And then I assume there will be a moderator, and we debate Radio City Music Hall on Monday night. And then we go to Boston on Tuesday and Chicago on Wednesday.
What kind of relationship do you two have as far as, professionally? I mean,
Well, I used to do his show Politically Incorrect all the time. I was his most frequent guest. We'd go out after the show. We'd go out when he was in New York, and I just haven't seen him for a long time. And I used to watch Politically Incorrect religiously. I don't really care for his current show, not so much. Well, I haven't watched in such a long time. I can't even say much about him, though I think he's very funny, and I always really liked him. But it's his audience I can't stand.
ugh.
Have they gotten too radical? You think? Are they like they irrationally left?
It's the crazymoveon.org crowd. Remember, he got kicked off ABC for what appeared to be, and I think it was unfair to Bill, as I told him I had a notebook of all the things he said on Politically Incorrect that he should have been kicked off for. And this wasn't it, but it sounded like he was dissing American troops and saying nice things about the terrorists a few weeks after 9/11. That wasn't true, and not to rehash the details, but that's the way it came across. That's why he got fired. People who liked that ended up in his new audience.
Yeah, they love him. Ugh. It's hard to watch when they cheer for these things that are just like, oh my God, could you shut up?
Right, and Jimmy must appreciate this more than I do even, and it drives me out of my mind. You can see Bill up there setting up a joke, but the audience ruins it because they must cheer at certain names and they must boo at other names.
Because they think they're part of these dumb audiences think they're part of the creative process. And it drives me nuts when they think they need to agree ideologically in order to enjoy the joke, which I never do. Like, Paul Mooney's a black comic. He's fairly radical. He's a good reference point.
Fairly.
But, I mean, I agree with very little of what he says. And he really gives it to white people good. But you know what? He's a really funny comic, so I enjoy watching him. I don't need to agree to enjoy what he does.
Right.
So when you're setting something up and they're like, oh, hey, yeah, it's like, you idiots understand there's timing involved here?
Yes.
And they don't.
Yes, and you can see Maher wincing when his retarded audience applause. No. Comedians don't want applause. Applause means you said, you're Whoopi Goldberg. Laughter, that's like a sneeze. You can't help laughing.
Yeah, and you know what? One thing I loved about George Carlin is the longer he went on, the more they would applaud at what he was setting up. And George would just kind of, okay, and he would put his hand up, and you could see he didn't want it. He wanted to make the point, or he wanted the laughs, but he wasn't looking for, like, the cheap slut applause that a lot of comics try to go for by saying something poignant.
Right. So I think Bill Maher has roughly the same opinion of his audience that I do, but what can you do?
Now,
so that's why I want your listeners to come to the show.
Besides the audience, you and Bill in particular, do you have a differing point of views enough where the debate could get heated?
I don't think either of us are particularly the heated type.
I think that you guys are pretty opposite sides of the spectrum, though. I mean, I could definitely see you saying something that sets him off, or vice versa.
Oh, yes. I think there's very little we will disagree on.
Agree on, you mean?
Right, agree on, but I don't think we'll, we also, neither one of us, I think is very likely to become offended, to use the feminist word.
Well, no, that's good, but I would like to see two people disagree on things like that, because...
At this point, I'm not sure there's anything we agree on.
It's so, politics is so odd because it's debated so much, but you're never changing anyone's mind.
That's not true.
Well, 99.9% of the time, you're never changing anyone's mind.
Oh, I don't think that's true at all. Especially with young people and college students. I meet loads of college students and recent college graduates who've changed their mind. I was giving a speech up at Syracuse a few years ago at a dinner, and this happens frequently. At dinner, one of the kids, although this was a little odd, one of the kids starts, laughingly telling me about everything that goes on at the green meetings on campus and the idiotic things they were planning. And he was giving me so many details, I finally said to him, what, are you like the college Republican secret mole in the Green Party? And he said, oh, no, I used to be a Green. And I said, ask him what happened to him. And he said he had come to see a speech of mine 2 years ago, soon after 9/11, and he said nobody else was making any sense. You were the only person who made sense. I meet a lot of college kids who change their minds, and young people who've read a book and become conservative.
Yeah.
Are people taken back? I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say that's. It seems very rare though when you're debating something. I guess with people who you can kind of. That are a little more malleable, you get a little more luck. When people are stuck in their ways and you try to just argue points with them and they're spewing out the same crap, it just gets frustrating.
That's true. That's why I tend not to listen to people I'm arguing with.
Yeah.
It gets very frustrating when you listen.
Whose idea was the Bill Maher debate? Did you approach him, or did he approach you? And what was it like? Because, I mean, you've pretty much gone out. I mean, I saw you really gave Matt Lauer a nice beating, which was nice. And I like Joy Behar, but I thought on Larry King, I thought you did a really great job of knocking down every point she made. I mean,
thank you. I loved that interview, and I've always liked her, too.
It was that
was good.
You seem like a tough person because you have, whether people agree with you or not, you have your facts lined up, and you're always able to defend your point. So what sparked this whole Bill Maher?
I think it was the Speakers Bureau that dreamed it up, because the Speakers Bureau approached me, and they came up with the idea, and I must say it's a great idea. Most of the potential sparring partners that people have come up with for me, I have not thought, oh, that's a good idea. I mean, James Carville, Snooze Fest, Al Sharpton, Witty, but you're kind of talking past each other. Yeah. Let's see, and of course the whole Tawana Brawley thing. Al Franken, obnoxious and unfunny. Bill Maher will actually be fun, I think.
Who would you say is one of the tougher people you've had to debate against?
I was supposed to be, and I'm brokenhearted over this. This isn't exactly a debate, but it was the only interviewer I was ever intimidated by. I went down to Washington last weekend for CPAC, but got there early for a book notes interview on C-SPAN. And my interviewer, I don't know if you've seen these things on C-SPAN, they have sort of unusual pairings of interviewee and interviewer, was going to be Phyllis Schlafly. And I realized as it was approaching, this is the first interviewer I think I've had where I know the interviewer is smarter than I am. And even though we're simpatico on many things, she's just a very smart woman. I write about her in Slander. It's stunning, especially the way she's been dismissed as if all she does is cook brownies. She's written, dozens of books, most of them serious, solid books on foreign policy and military weapons systems. In any event, she's much older than she looks, and she broke her hip the day before.
Oh, wow.
The interview, and they just pulled in somebody else to do the interview. So I was disappointed about that. And as for the best, Maher, I would say, is one of the better ones, mostly because he's funny and smart and quick on his feet. He's not as much of a political junkie, but he's witty, and being funny counts for a lot.
Was there anybody you thought was going to be tough that just turned out to be a complete horse's ass, or that was just completely inept?
The toughest debates, in my opinion, are the ones where